Every woman carries a story of struggle, of strength, of silent battles fought in the dark. Yet, when one woman chooses to rise, she doesn't rise alone. She lights a path for others to follow. Today, I want to remind us all that real empowerment is not about standing above others, but about reaching out a hand and pulling someone up with you. Because when one woman lifts another, we both rise. Lift, don't compete. That's where true empowerment begins. For far too long, society has made women believe that there's only space for a few at the top, that another woman's success somehow makes ours smaller, but that's not true. The truth is, there's enough light for all of us to shine. When we compete out of insecurity, we build walls, but when we lift out of strength, we build bridges. Imagine a garden full of flowers, each one beautiful in its own way. Does the rose feel jealous of the sunflower? Does the tulip try to outshine the lily? No, each blooms fully in its season, adding color and fragrance to the same garden. Women are like that too. When one woman blossoms, she adds beauty to the world. Not competition. We need to change how we see each other. Instead of saying, "She's better than me," start saying, "She's inspiring me." When you see another woman doing well, don't let jealousy whisper in your ear. Let admiration speak in your heart. Because every time you celebrate another woman's success, you give yourself permission to grow as well. Lifting others doesn't mean dimming your own light. It means realizing that the sky is wide enough for every star to shine. A woman who lifts others isn't weaker, she's wiser. She knows that when she helps someone rise, she's not losing her power, she's multiplying it. When we stop competing and start connecting, something magical happens. Instead of walking alone, we walk together. Instead of being afraid of losing, we start celebrating winning, not just individually, but collectively. That's how legacies are built, not on rivalry, but on unity. So the next time you see a woman shining, don't turn away. Stand beside her, compliment her, support her. Remind her that her strength gives you courage too. Because one woman's rise is not a threat, it's an invitation for us all to stand taller, dream bigger, and rise together. Celebrate other women's wins, because every time another woman succeeds, it's not the end of your story. It's proof that the next chapter of yours is possible. The world has conditioned us to see success as a limited resource, as if another woman's light somehow dims our own. But success isn't a pie with only a few slices. It's a sunrise, and there's enough light for everyone to feel its warmth. When you see a woman achieving something you dream of, pause and notice your thoughts. Do you feel envy? Do you feel inadequate? Or can you choose to feel inspired? That choice determines whether you stay small or grow strong. When you celebrate her win, you open your heart to the truth that if it happened for her, it can happen for you too. Because she's not your competition, she's your reflection. Her achievement is proof that the dream you hold is not impossible. Imagine a world where women truly clapped for each other, genuinely, loudly, proudly. Imagine how that energy could shift everything. The sound of one woman's applause can echo far beyond the moment. It can heal insecurities, build confidence, and create unbreakable sisterhoods. Every time you celebrate another woman's progress, you tell her, "I see you. I believe in you. Keep going. Those few words can ignite a fire in her heart that keeps her from giving up. There is immense power in celebration. When you lift others with your words, when you share their victories, you create a ripple effect. That energy comes back to you in unexpected ways, opportunities, friendships, and blessings that flow from genuine support. The universe recognizes generosity, even the emotional kind. And let's not forget, every successful woman you see has her own battles, scars, and sleepless nights behind that smile. When you cheer for her, you honor her journey, not just her results. You remind her that her effort mattered, that her resilience was worth it. And in that moment, you both rise. She gains strength from your support, and you gain peace from your kindness. So let's choose to be women who celebrate, not criticize. Let's be the ones who say, "Wow, look at her go," instead of, "Why not me?" Because every woman who wins lights a path for others to follow. Her victory expands the horizon of what's possible for all of us. When one woman shines, she doesn't steal your light, she shows you how bright you can become too. So clap for her, share her story, lift her up, and mean it. The more we celebrate each other, the more unstoppable we all become. That's how we create a world where every woman's success becomes a shared victory. Not just hers, but ours. Mentorship matters because behind every strong woman, there is often another woman who believed in her before she believed in herself. No one truly succeeds alone. Every voice that grows confident, every dream that becomes real, every boundary that gets broken, somewhere behind it stands a mentor, a guide, a supporter who whispered, "You can do it." Mentorship is not about superiority. It's about shared strength. It's about reaching back to lift someone who is where you once were, someone who just needs one hand, one word, or one example to keep going. A mentor doesn't always wear a title or hold a position. Sometimes she's a teacher, a sister, a friend, a mother, or even a stranger whose words stayed with you. She is the woman who offers you guidance when you feel lost, who reminds you of your worth when you forget it yourself. A mentor sees potential in you that you might not even see yet, and she helps you water it until it blooms. That's the magic of mentorship. It doesn't just change the mentee, it transforms the mentor too. Because when you help someone grow, you grow as well. Mentorship is the bridge between generations of women, those who came before us and those who will come after. When you share your lessons, your failures, your wisdom, you create a path smoother than the one you had to walk. You become part of a chain of empowerment that never ends. Imagine if every woman decided to mentor just one younger woman, to pass on her experience instead of keeping it to herself. We would build an unshakable community of knowledge, courage, and leadership. And mentorship doesn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes it's in the small things, the encouragement to apply for that job, the honest feedback that helps someone grow, the comforting message that says, "Don't give up." It's in those quiet moments when you choose to guide instead of judge, to teach instead of compete. That's where real transformation happens, not in loud applause, but in silent support. When women mentor women, they rewrite the narrative of power. Power stops being something you hold over someone. It becomes something you share. The world changes when women realize that lifting others doesn't weaken their strength, it multiplies it. Every time you mentor, you plant a seed in someone else's garden, and one day, when her flowers bloom, she will plant seeds for others too. That's how impact travels through time. We need more women who don't just climb the ladder, but who turn around and extend a hand to the next woman behind them. Because success that isn't shared is incomplete. The true measure of your greatness is not how high you go, but how many you lift along the way. So be the mentor you once needed, the one who listens without judgment, who guides without ego, who believes without condition. Be the reason another woman doesn't give up on her dreams. Because one day she'll tell her story, and your name will be written in the lines of her gratitude. And that, more than any title or trophy, is the legacy that truly lasts. Speak kind words, because words are not just sounds that fade away, they are that take root in the hearts of others. Every word we speak has the power to build or break, to heal or to harm, to lift or to lower. A kind word can stay with someone for years, echoing in their heart long after it was spoken. And a harsh word, even said once, can leave scars that no one sees. That's why we must become more intentional about how we speak to and about other women. In a world where criticism spreads faster than compassion, kindness becomes an act of courage. It's easy to join in gossip, to judge, or to make comparisons. But it takes real strength to be the one who speaks life when others speak doubt. Sometimes, all it takes is one genuine compliment, one sincere acknowledgement, one simple, "I believe in you," to completely change someone's day, maybe even their direction. Words have energy, and that energy either uplifts or destroys. Choose to be the woman whose voice uplifts. Think about the times when someone spoke kindness into your life. Maybe a teacher told you that you had potential. Maybe a friend reminded you that you were enough when you felt invisible. Those words probably gave you courage to keep going, even when life felt heavy. That's the power you hold every single day with your own voice. Every time you open your mouth, you have the opportunity to make someone feel seen, valued, and capable. What a beautiful responsibility that is. Speaking kind words doesn't mean you have to ignore the truth or avoid honesty. It means you choose to express truth with empathy. You can correct without crushing, advise without attacking, and guide without gossiping. Kindness is not weakness, it's wisdom. It shows emotional maturity, self-control, and deep understanding of how much words matter. When you use your words wisely, people feel safe around you, and safety creates trust, and trust builds community. As women, we've all experienced moments where words were used against us, to shame, to silence, to diminish. That's why it's so powerful when we choose to break that cycle. When we decide, "I will not speak like that about another woman," we take back control from a culture that profits from tearing women down. Every kind word you speak is an act of resistance against bitterness, against jealousy, against insecurity. You become a voice of light in a world full of noise. And the beauty of kind words is that they always come back. When you speak love, you attract love. When you spread encouragement, you build an environment where people naturally encourage you too. Kindness creates a circle. What you give eventually finds its way back to you, often when you need it the most. So speak kindly, not only to others, but also to yourself. Because the words you say to your own reflection matter too. Be gentle with your journey, patient with your progress, and proud of how far you've come. The way you speak to yourself sets the tone for how you speak to others. Let your voice be the one that reminds others of their worth, their beauty, their potential. Speak words that heal, that strengthen, that inspire. Because at the end of the day, it's not the titles or achievements people will remember. It's how you made them feel. And sometimes, one kind sentence can be the beginning of someone's courage to rise again. Support in silence. Because sometimes, the most powerful kind of support isn't loud, visible, or celebrated. It's quiet. It's the woman who stands in the background, clapping for you when no one else does. It's the friend who doesn't post about your success online, but prays for you in private. It's the one who checks in when the world forgets to. Real support doesn't always come with noise or attention. It comes with consistency, loyalty, and sincerity. We often think that to support someone means to make a public statement, to show up in grand ways, to be seen cheering. But some of the most genuine acts of love and solidarity happen in silence. It's in the words left unsaid, the gossip you refuse to spread, the judgment you choose not to make, the comparison you let go of. Sometimes support is simply choosing kindness when you could choose criticism. There's something deeply beautiful about a woman who supports others quietly. She doesn't need recognition because her heart finds peace in seeing others rise. She doesn't seek to be noticed for helping. She finds meaning in knowing that her presence made a difference, even if no one saw it. This kind of woman understands that support is not about spotlight. It's about soul. She knows that real friendship doesn't always need to be announced. It just needs to be felt. Silent support also means being there when no one else is watching. In the moments of doubt, fear, or loneliness. It's when you listen without interrupting. When you stand by someone's side without demanding attention. It's when you show up for her dreams, even when they don't benefit you. Because true support is selfless. It's rooted in love, not ego. Sometimes, supporting in silence means protecting someone's dignity when they're struggling. You don't need to tell the world, you helped her, you just help. You don't need to expose her pain, you hold it gently. You don't need to share her story, you honor it with respect. There's a quiet nobility in being the kind of woman who uplifts without seeking credit. That's real sisterhood, the kind that happens when hearts understand each other without words. And silence doesn't mean absence, it means depth. It's the quiet strength that says, I'm here for you, even when nothing needs to be said. It's the kind of support that speaks through actions, through small gestures, through patience. It's sending a message to check in, leaving a note of encouragement, praying for someone without telling them, or standing beside them in difficult times without asking for acknowledgement. These are the things that truly hold people together. We live in a time where everyone wants to be seen as supportive, but few truly are when it matters most. True support doesn't always get likes, shares, or praise, but it builds unbreakable bonds. The woman who supports silently becomes the pillar others lean on, the calm in someone's chaos, the quiet strength behind many victories. To support in silence is to love maturely, without expectation, without need for reward. It's to give without keeping score. It's to understand that helping someone rise doesn't mean you fall behind, it means you both ascend in grace. Silent support reminds us that not all kindness needs an audience. Sometimes, the most meaningful moments happen in the unseen spaces, where compassion exists simply because it's the right thing to do. So, be that silent supporter. Be the woman who cheers in whispers, who helps without being asked, who protects without being praised. Because the world needs fewer loud voices and more quiet hearts. Hearts that lift others simply because they can. And even if no one ever knows the role you played, know this: the universe always sees silent goodness. And someday, that same quiet love will find its way back to you, multiplied. Break stereotypes together, because the walls that divide women are not built overnight, and they cannot be broken alone. They are built from centuries of conditioning, of narrow definitions of how a woman should look, act, speak, and live. Society has told women to fit into boxes, be strong, but not too strong, be beautiful, but not intimidating, be ambitious, but not louder than a man. These invisible rules have been passed down from generation to generation, and they have limited not just what women can do, but who they can become. But when women stand together, those walls begin to crack. When women unite instead of compete, the stereotypes lose their power. A single woman challenging a stereotype can be silenced. But when thousands of voices rise together, the silence breaks. When one woman speaks her truth, it gives another woman the courage to speak hers. That's how change happens, not through isolation, but through unity. Because every stereotype that has held women back can only be dismantled when women collectively refuse to believe it anymore. Think about how the world has labeled women. They say, "You're too emotional," when she shows compassion. "You're too ambitious," when she chases her dreams. "You're too loud," when she speaks her mind. But what if we stop letting those labels define us? What if instead of shrinking to fit someone's expectation, we started expanding into our full potential? And what if, when we saw another woman being boxed in, we helped her break free too? That's what breaking stereotypes together truly means. It's about holding hands, not holding each other back. It starts in small moments. When you defend another woman's choices instead of judging them. When you respect a mother who stays at home and a woman who builds a company with equal admiration. When you understand that there is no single way to be a good woman. Strength doesn't look the same on everyone. Some women roar loudly, others lead quietly. Some build careers, others build homes. Some do both. None are less. Every choice made with courage and integrity deserves respect. When women support each other across differences, in background, in belief, in lifestyle, they send a powerful message that womanhood is not a competition, but a community. Stereotypes feed on division, but unity starves them. When we celebrate diversity among women, we remind the world that there is beauty in individuality. The goal is not to all become the same, but to allow each woman to be fully herself without fear or shame. Breaking stereotypes also means confronting the ones we've internalized. Sometimes the harshest critic of a woman is another woman. We have to ask ourselves, how many times have we judged someone for not doing things the way we would? How many times have we reinforced the very biases we wish to escape? True empowerment begins when we not only reject the labels society gives us, but also stop labeling each other. Every woman who breaks free makes it easier for the next one to do the same. When one woman enters a field where women are rare, she opens the door wider. When one woman raises her voice in a space where women are silenced, she creates space for others to speak. When one woman refuses to apologize for who she is, she teaches others to do the same. One woman's courage becomes another woman's permission. But the real revolution happens when we do it together. When women from every corner of life, from every culture, age, and dream decide that enough is enough. That they will no longer let the world define their worth, limit their dreams, or dictate their roles. Together, we are not just challenging stereotypes, we are rewriting history. So let's hold each other up when the world tries to push us down. Let's replace judgment with understanding, envy with encouragement, distance with unity. Let's stand side by side and remind the world that women are not one thing. We are many things. We are strength and softness, ambition and empathy, power and peace. We are limitless. And when we break stereotypes together, the sound of those walls falling becomes the song of our freedom. Empathy over ego, because true strength doesn't come from proving you are better than others. It comes from understanding others. In a world that often rewards pride and competition, empathy becomes a quiet kind of power, the kind that connects instead of divides, that heals instead of hurts. Ego says, I need to win. Empathy says, we can all win. Ego builds walls, empathy builds bridges. And in a time when women are too often taught to compare, to compete, and to criticize, choosing empathy becomes one of the most radical and beautiful acts of sisterhood. Empathy is not about pity. It's not about feeling sorry for someone. It's about feeling with them. It's the ability to sit beside another woman and say, I may not have lived your story, but I see your pain. I see your effort. I see your heart. It's about listening deeply without the need to respond with advice or judgment. Sometimes empathy means staying quiet long enough to truly hear what someone is saying beneath their words. It means being present, fully, tenderly, sincerely. Ego makes us believe we have to be right. Empathy reminds us that being kind is more important. Ego says, I would never make that mistake, while empathy whispers, I've made mistakes too. Ego separates us by differences, but empathy unites us in shared humanity. When women choose empathy over ego, they stop seeing each other as rivals and start seeing each other as reflections, mirrors of strength, resilience, and courage, each fighting silent battles that deserve understanding, not judgment. Empathy softens the heart, but strengthens the soul. It allows us to forgive more easily, to love more fully, and to connect more deeply. It is the foundation of every lasting relationship, every act of kindness, every moment of genuine support. When you choose empathy, you choose to look beyond appearances, beyond the surface smiles and perfect pictures, and recognize that everyone is carrying something unseen. That recognition is what makes you human in the most profound way. As women, empathy connects us in ways that logic never could. It's what makes us reach out when we sense something's wrong, even when nothing was said. It's what makes us defend another woman who's being judged. even when it's easier to stay silent. It's what makes us share our stories vulnerably so others know they're not alone. Empathy reminds us that we are all connected through the invisible thread of shared emotion, joy, sorrow, fear, hope. When one woman suffers, we all feel it. When one woman rises, we all rise a little higher too. Ego, on the other hand, thrives on separation. It whispers lies, that someone else's success threatens yours, that showing compassion is weakness, that vulnerability makes you small. But that's not true. The women who lead with empathy are the ones who create change that lasts. They understand that lifting others does not lower them, it elevates everyone. Empathy doesn't diminish power, it humanizes it. Practicing empathy means slowing down before reacting, thinking before speaking, and asking before assuming. It means reminding yourself that every woman you meet has a story you don't fully know. The one who seems cold may be protecting a broken heart. The one who seems arrogant may be hiding deep insecurities. The one who seems distant may be exhausted from giving too much of herself. Empathy allows you to see the truth beneath the mask, to meet people where they are, not where you expect them to be. When empathy replaces ego, women begin to build something far greater than individual success. They build community. They create spaces where everyone feels seen, safe, and valued. They create teams that thrive on trust instead of fear, friendships based on honesty instead of image, and conversations that heal instead of hurt. That's what happens when you lead with understanding instead of pride. Imagine a world where every woman looked at another and thought, what if that were me? Imagine the compassion that would flow, the unity that would grow, the peace that would follow. Ego divides us into categories: rich, poor, strong, weak, perfect, imperfect. Empathy dissolves those lines and reminds us that, at our core, we are all human, equally deserving of grace. So, choose empathy over ego. Choose to understand before you judge. Choose to comfort before you criticize. Choose to listen before you lecture. Because when women lead with empathy, they don't just change how others feel, they change the entire energy of the world around them. The world doesn't need more people trying to be right, it needs more people trying to be kind. And when women embody that truth, they become unstoppable forces of healing, unity, and light. Build safe spaces, because every woman deserves a place where she can breathe without fear, speak without judgment, and be seen without masks. A safe space is not just a physical place, it is a feeling, a presence, a warmth, a sanctuary of understanding. It is the kind of space where women can be honest about their struggles without being labeled weak, where they can share their dreams without being told they're unrealistic, and where they can be vulnerable without being made to feel small. We live in a world that often expects women to be strong all the time, to smile even when they're breaking, to hold everything together even when they're falling apart. But even the strongest women need a place to fall softly. That's what a safe space offers. It's a gentle reminder that you don't always have to be okay to be worthy of love and respect. It's a circle where tears are not a sign of weakness, but a symbol of courage, where silence is not ignored but honored, and where no one has to pretend. Building safe spaces begins with trust, the kind of trust that says, you can tell me anything, and I will not use it against you. It starts with empathy, where listening matters more than responding, and compassion replaces criticism. It requires us to remove the armor we wear in the outside world and meet one another heart to heart. In a safe space, no one is competing, no one is comparing, and no one is pretending. It's a place of pure humanity, where women can be real, raw, messy, honest, and free. Sometimes, a safe space looks like a conversation over tea, where one woman finally says, "I'm tired," and the other simply nods and says, "I understand." Sometimes, it's a quiet friendship that doesn't need words, or a community where every story is met with love instead of gossip. It could be a group of women who come together not to impress each other, but to support one another through their journeys. The shape doesn't matter. What matters is the energy of safety, of understanding, of unconditional acceptance. Building such spaces requires courage, because it means going against the culture of comparison and criticism. It means saying no to gossip, refusing to judge, and standing up for those who are being torn down. It means creating environments, at work, at home, online, in friendships, where kindness is the norm and vulnerability is welcomed. Every time a woman chooses to listen instead of mock, to comfort instead of compete, she becomes a builder of safe spaces. And these spaces are powerful because they create healing. When a woman feels safe, she starts to open up, to share her story, to let go of the weight she's been carrying alone. In that moment, she begins to heal, not because someone solved her problem, but because someone cared enough to sit beside her through it. Healing begins in the presence of safety, and healed women go on to heal others. They become the safe space for someone else. Imagine a world where women didn't fear judgment from other women, where we could show our imperfections, our insecurities, and our truths without being shamed. Imagine workplaces where women lift each other up instead of stepping over one another, where younger women are mentored instead of measured. Imagine friendships built on love and trust, not on envy or comparison. That is the kind of world that begins when we build safe spaces together. To create these spaces, we must also learn to be gentle with ourselves. Because if we can't offer safety to our own hearts, how can we offer it to others? Speak to yourself kindly, forgive yourself often, and allow yourself to rest. The more peace you create within, the more peace you can give to others. A safe space doesn't have to be large. Even one person can create it. When you listen without judgment, when you defend someone who's being misunderstood, when you remind another woman that she matters, you are building it. When you choose understanding over assumption and compassion over criticism, you are planting the seeds of safety. Be that woman, the one others feel safe around, the one who doesn't gossip about another's pain, the one who listens when others speak from their hearts, the one who makes people believe that kindness still exists. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need more critics, it needs more comforters. It doesn't need more judgment, it needs more gentleness. And when women build safe spaces for each other, they don't just create places of comfort, they create movements of change. Because from those spaces rise stronger, braver, and more compassionate women. Women who go on to build safer homes, safer workplaces, and a safer world. That is the quiet power of sisterhood, not in how loudly we speak, but in how softly we make each other feel seen, heard, and safe. Teach the next generation, because everything we do today, every word we speak, every choice we make, is shaping the women who will come after us. The little girls watching us now are learning what it means to be a woman, not from what we say, but from how we live. They are watching how we treat ourselves, how we treat others, and how we stand up for what we believe in. They are learning whether women compete or collaborate, whether they criticize or uplift, whether they hide their light or shine it proudly. We are their first teachers, not in classrooms, but in life. When we teach the next generation, we are not just preparing them for the world as it is, we are preparing them to create a better one. The lessons we pass on become the roots of their character. If we teach them to be kind, they will grow into women who heal others. If we teach them to be strong, they will grow into women who face storms with courage. If we teach them to lift other women, instead of tearing them down, they will grow into leaders who understand that true power is shared, not hoarded. Every value we plant in them today will bear fruit tomorrow. Teaching the next generation doesn't always mean giving speeches or advice. It means being the example of the kind of woman you want them to become. When they see you choosing forgiveness instead of resentment, they learn compassion. When they see you speaking up instead of staying silent, they learn courage. When they see you respecting other women instead of judging them, they learn sisterhood. Your behavior becomes their blueprint. Your choices become their guide. That's why it's so important to live intentionally, because someone, somewhere, is always learning from your example. We must teach them that strength and softness can coexist, that being confident doesn't mean being unkind, and being humble doesn't mean being silent. Teach them that their worth isn't tied to appearance, to approval, or to perfection. Show them that it's okay to fail, to cry, to start over, because that's how growth happens. Let them see that success isn't about titles or wealth, but about character and contribution. Teach them that real beauty shines through compassion, integrity, and authenticity. And perhaps most importantly, teach them about unity, that another woman's success doesn't threaten theirs, but expands what's possible for all. Teach them to cheer for other women, to collaborate instead of compete. Let them understand that lifting others is a strength, not a sacrifice. If we raise a generation that celebrates each other instead of comparing, we will raise a world that thrives in harmony, not division. Teaching the next generation also means unteaching some of what we were told. Many of us grew up being told to be quiet, to be polite, to not dream too big. It's time to change that narrative. Tell the young girls in your life that their voices matter, that their dreams are valid, that they never have to shrink to make others comfortable. Tell them that they can be gentle and fierce, nurturing and ambitious, emotional and intelligent, all at once. The world needs women who are whole, not half versions of themselves. But let's not forget to teach the next generation of boys too, to respect women, to see them as equals, to value empathy over dominance and partnership over power. Because gender equality isn't just a women's issue, it's a human issue. When we raise boys who respect girls and girls who respect themselves, we raise a balanced and compassionate world. Every time you encourage a young girl to speak her truth. Every time you listen without judgment, every time you remind her that she matters, you are shaping her foundation. And one day, when she grows into a woman of strength and grace, she will remember not the words you said, but the way you made her feel. That sense of safety, love, and encouragement will become her inner voice, the one that guides her long after you are gone. So, be the woman who teaches by example, through kindness, through courage, through consistency. Be the one who shows the next generation that women can be each other's greatest allies. Because one day, when we are gone, they will carry our lessons forward. They will build on what we've started. They will rise higher because we chose to lift them. That's the legacy we should all strive for. Not one of fame or recognition, but one of influence and impact. To know that because of you, some young girl believes she can. To know that your words and actions helped shape a woman who will go on to change the world. That is how we truly live forever, not in monuments or memories, but in the hearts of the next generation we dared to lift.